This video will be about find and replace functionalities in Google Sheets. So we'll use find and replace function under edit menu right here. And we'll also use different functions that can get you similar results. So the functions we'll cover are going to be substitute and regex replace. So we're going to start with this regular find and replace functionality. So let's say we have this UPS codes. And in all of these UPS codes, we have all of these spaces. We do not want those spaces. We just want our UPS codes without all those spaces. We could use find and replace to actually achieve that. And what we can do, we can search for the space and replace it by nothing. So let's see that as an example. So I'm going to highlight this column. I'm going to go under edit, click find and replace. As find, I'm going to hit space. That's what I'm searching for. As a replace, I'm going to choose what am I replacing it by. I don't want to replace it by anything. I just want to basically remove it, so I'm not going to type anything. Now, if I wanted to replace it by a hyphen or really anything else, let's say I want to do like triple hyphen, I would just type it there and I would do replace all, and you would see in the background how everything is now replaced, all the spaces with my triple hyphens. I'm going to undo this. And the second thing that's important here is really, why did I select this column first? Because if you don't select this column, it's going to search for all the spaces in this entire tab and replace all of them. So for example, this space here would be removed and replaced. This space is here, all of the spaces. So I don't want to touch all the spaces. I just want to change spaces here in this column. Now, if I wanted just in this range, I would highlight the range first and do that. In this case, I'm okay with the whole column. So I'm going to select that, edit, and find and replace. And then I'm just going to hit space, and I'm going to replace it with nothing in this case. So I'm going to do replace all, and you should see how all the spaces now are gone, and we just have our clean UPS codes. That's one example of search and replace. There are really too many examples you can do here. So for example, let's say we want to search for Windows and we want to replace all those with something else. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, find and replace, type Windows, and I'm going to replace it by Win95. Replace all. And you should see how all those Windows words are now replaced. Undo. So there is an option here to match case. So by default, see if I'm searching for lowercase Windows and I just do replace all, it will work. So undo again. But if I click on match case, this is only going to replace if it's actually a lowercase Windows exactly as I'm typing. So it's going to match the case too. There's also this box that says match entire cell content, the second one. So I'm going to uncheck this. So this match entire cell content is going to only search for cells where the entire cell just says Windows. That's where it's going to actually remove and replace it. So let's see a good example of that. So I'm going to X out of this. So for example, if you're trying to search for this number and replace it, now, if you had another instance that number exists within a different number like this, so this exists and this exists. Now, when we do a regular replace, it's going to replace this and it's going to replace this. So let's do that find and replace. So I'm going to do this and let's replace it with A. So I'm going to just replace all. So you'll see how this one is replaced and this one is replaced. If you only want to replace when the entire thing is a match, then you can do match entire cell content, replace, and now you can see how the second one stays as is because we're matching the entire content of the cell. Okay, so that's our next option here. One of the most powerful ways of searching and replacing is search using regular expression. The more regular expression you know, the more you'll be able to actually do with this functionality. I'm going to show you some basic examples, and if you want to learn more, I have several videos covering regular expression functions. Now let's do some examples of replacement with regular expressions. Let's start with our full name example. So for example, we have these names, and some names have first name, last name. Some names have first name, middle name, last name. So what we want to do, we want to basically just get rid of all of those middle initials, just leave first name and last name. So I'm going to click on this, I'm going to go edit, and I'm going to do find and replace. So in regular expression, there are a lot of special characters. So I'm going to first check search using regular expression. And now everything I'm typing in find cell has a different meaning. So for example, in regular expression, a period means one character, any character. If you follow that period with a star, that's going to make it, the star refers to the character before, and it says that there could be 0 or more characters. So in this case, any characters. If you follow it with a plus, that means there's going to be 1 or more character. And then I'm going to follow it by this. So this /s means there's going to be a space. So after the space, what I'm trying to find is, for example, this case, this case, this case. So I'm going to say there are going to be 1 or more any characters again. So again, this. So this means at least 1 character. For example, here, there's at least 1 character. There's 2 characters. Again, it's more than 1. So that's a match. And then after that, I'm going to say there's going to be a space. And then I'm going to say there is again 1 or more characters. So basically, this will mean the first part, then the space, then we have the second part, then the space, and then the third part. So if I just hit find, see, the first one it finds is this one. I hit another find, see, it jumps to the next one. So these are not matches because there's no space and then some other things and then another space. So find again, so you can see how we're finding what we should find. Now the keys, so how do we actually replace these things? So to replace these things, we have to think about what part we're replacing and what part we're keeping. So the part that I want to replace in this particular case is going to be this middle part right here, which is that middle initial. So the parts that I don't want to replace, I'm going to put those in parentheses. So this first part I don't want to replace, so I'm going to put that in parentheses. And I also don't want to replace this second part, and I'm going to place that in parentheses. And I'm going to show you why I'm doing that. So all of these, meaning starting from the space and all the characters in the middle and the next space, that's the part I want to replace. So what I want to do, I want to make sure I preserve this part and this part, which is the first name and the last name. So to do that, I'm going to refer to this first part by doing $1. This will mean whatever is in this parentheses, just put that same text over here. And $1 means it's the first set of parentheses. $2 would be the second set of parentheses. $3 would be the third set of parentheses. You get the idea. So I want to have the first set of parentheses, which is going to get us the first name. Then I want to have a space. And then after the space, I want to have the second name, which is going to be my second set of parentheses. So $2. So now I'm going to go ahead and run my replace. So I'm going to do replace all. So you can see how we're able to go through this entire thing and just replace all of those middle initials. Hopefully that makes sense. So let's do some other examples. So I'm going to scroll all the way left here. So here we have email address, and we would like to do some search and replace. So I'm going to go ahead and do find and replace. So what I want to do, I just want to get the domain. So again, I'm going to say there is going to be 1 or more certain characters, and then there is going to be a @ sign, So the @ sign is just the @ sign, just like that. And then after the @ sign, there is going to be again one or more characters. So now I'm going to get the part that I would like to keep. I want to keep the part after this. And that's the first set of parentheses. So I'm going to say, let's replace this with $1, meaning that's going to be just this. So if I just go ahead and do, well, I want to make sure I check this, search using regular expression. Otherwise, it will literally just search for this and replace with this. So I'm going to do replace all. We have domain names. I'm going to undo that. If you wanted the opposite, you wanted to keep the part before the domain name. Obviously, what you do, you don't put these parentheses here. You put those parentheses for the first part. So now again, that's the first set of parentheses. So $1 remains the same. Replace all. They're gone. Let's do another interesting example here. I think that would be nice in this data set. So for example, if you look at these names for this email address, basically it's the first name, then there's the middle initial in uppercase, and then there is the last name. And then first name again, middle initial in uppercase, and then last name. So what I want to do, I just want to get rid of that middle initial and just have first and last name separated by a space. Or another possibility would be to just separate the first name and the middle initial and the last name so they are basically spaced out. And we can actually accomplish that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say that there is going to be an uppercase character in the beginning. So uppercase character, the way you can do that, you can do a set. So I can do this square brackets, that means a set of characters, and I'm going to say A to Z. So that's uppercase A to Z. And that's going to match one of these things. Then I'm going to say there is going to be one or more certain characters. And then it's going to be followed by another uppercase character. And then after that uppercase character, which is going to be this, there's going to be yet another uppercase character. And then we're going to have some characters following that uppercase character. So there's going to be, again, dot plus. So now let's try to do that separation. So first I'm going to separate the first name from the initial and then from the last name without removing anything. First, I'm going to say this from this parenthesis until I hit the second uppercase character. That's going to be my first set. Then that second uppercase character is going to be my second set. And then everything after that is going to be my third set. So I have 3 sets of parentheses. This is my $1, $2, $3. So $1 space, $2 space, $3 because we wanted spaces, right? So replace all. Nice. So I'm going to undo that. Now let's do the case of removing the middle initial out of this. So to remove the middle initial, I do parentheses only for those that I'd like to keep. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to remove that because that's the middle initial. And I'm going to replace that. This is the first set, $1, do space, and then $2. Replace all. And there it is. First and last names. Let's do another example here. Some categories. So these categories are separated by this caret or whatever this character is called, or greater than character. So that's our categories. And what we want to get is the last part. So in this case, it's going to be this indoor snowboard storage. And then it's going to be shorts, and then protective gear, and so on. So let's see how we can do that again. So I'm going to go ahead and do find and replace. Make sure I check search using regular expression. So again, I'm going to do this. I'm going to say there is going to be some characters. And then there is going to be this character. And then there is going to be some more characters after that. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say, this is the part that I would like to preserve. And then let's just do $1, which is that set of parentheses. And I'm going to do replace all. You can see that that gave me exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to undo that. I'm going to try to explain you why. So when you do this matches, regular expression by default is looking for a greedy match, what's called. So what does that mean? That means that by default, when we say let's match some character, and there's going to be more than one characters, and then there's going to be this character. Now in this case we have several matches, right? There's this first match, and then let's close this, there's this second match, there's this third match, and there is so on. There are multiple matches. So by default, because that dot star also matches this character, because any character is that character as well, the greedy match is going to find the last one. So it's going to skip all of those, it's going to include them in that period plus, and it's going to match this last one as that sign that I was looking for. And then everything after that is this. And that's why that actually works. So let's try another one here. So find and replace, click search using regular expression. So now this time I'm going to keep only the first part. So if I try to do something like $plus, and then I do this, and then do another this, not dollar, but period plus, and I say let's keep this one and do $1, this is not going to work. Remember, because it's a greedy match. So if I just do this replace, you'll see that it's not getting only the first part, it's getting all the way until that last part. So that doesn't work for us. So we need to find a different solution. So our different solution is going to be this. I'm going to say the character I'm looking for in the beginning is not this character. So the way you say not this character, you do the set, use this caret in it, and then follow it by the character. So my character is this. So I'm saying this is not the character I want. And I'm going to follow that with plus, meaning there's going to be one or more of that character that I'm not looking for. So that's going to basically search from here all the way through the left until it hits that match. Then we're going to say after that there is going to be that character. And then technically we don't even have to do that. We can just say after that there's going to be some extra characters like this, which is that period plus, which will just grab the rest. So again, I'm going to just select this first part, which is all the way until that character, and then it's going to be everything after that. So this is our first set. Let's just go ahead and do replace all, and there we go. So I'm going to do undo again. A few different examples of using regular expression. Again, if you want to get deeper into this, watch my regular expression videos. Now I want to also show you alternative functions that you can use to do this type of things. Let's start with this telephone number. So I'm going to add a column here because I need to do a function. And I'm going to do that search and replace, which is the first thing we did. Find and replace when we find something and replace with something else. So we're going to use a function called substitute. So substitute is going to search for something and it's going to replace it. So let's see an example of that. So let's say this is our text, telephone number, and I'm going to search for, because this is text, it needs to be in quotes. So quote, hyphen, quote. So I'm going to look for a hyphen, comma, and what am I replacing the hyphen by? So let's say we're replacing it with a space. So I'll do quote, space, quote, and close my parentheses. Hit enter. So if I drag this down, you'll see all the hyphens are replaced. One thing to keep in mind about substitute function is that unlike this regular find and replace, it's actually case sensitive. It's similar to just having this match case turned on. But substitute actually has an extra functionality built into it other than that regular replace. And that's that optional fourth parameter. So if you do another comma, there's a fourth parameter, and that occurrence number. And that means that when you're searching for this hyphen, when you have multiple hyphens, you can say, I don't want to replace all of them. I just want to replace, let's say, the first one or the second one or the third one. So if I just want to replace this first hyphen, I can just say occurrence 1 and see how it's only replacing the first hyphen with a space. It's not touching the second one. Or I could do 2, which would replace the second hyphen. So that's your substitute function. Basically, you search for something, you replace it by something else. So the first thing is the text where you're searching, then what you're searching for, and what you're replacing it by. And optional, you can say which occurrence you actually want to change. So it's pretty simple. There is a function also called RegExReplace. And this is that regular expression search and replace. So if we're searching this, comma, then there is this regular expression. Now regular expressions that I was typing, in this case you have to put it in quotes in text format. So our regular expression is going to be, so there is going to be some characters, so dot plus, and then there is going to be a hyphen, and then there is going to be again some characters, and then there is going to be a hyphen again, and some characters one more time. I'm going to put in parentheses parts that I would like to keep. So I'm going to keep all the way until here. So I'll be just replacing, in this case, the second hyphen. And I'm going to just put everything else in parentheses. Just put that second hyphen outside of those parentheses. And then after comma, I'm going to say, what am I replacing that by? So I'm going to do, again, $1 to keep the first set. I will do a space and do $2 to have that second set. So there it is. That's our second hyphen. So I'll undo here. Obviously, you can do all kinds of things. If you just wanted to just get this last 4 digits part, you can do that. You simply just do your $2. That's really the part you want to keep. Here we go. So you could even do something like last 4 digits. Something like this. If you type it right. And it works. It's really the same as the other regular expression we're using. So you just provide your regular expression here and your replacement in the second quotes. And that's going to give you a regular expression replace. You could do exactly the same things we did before with this function. So for example, getting category parts. So if I add a column here, I'm going to do equals regex replace. And again, this is the text. My regular expression is going to be, let's get the first part only. So the first part was, there is going to be some characters, but the character that it should not be is this one. So that's my set, negative set. And I'm going to say there's going to be 1 or more of those, and then some characters after this. So I'm going to go ahead and put that first part in parentheses, just like that. That's the part I would like to get, comma, and then in quotes, again, this is $1. So I'm going to close this, hit enter. And if I double click this to send this down, I'm just going to get that first part. And that's your search and replace with functions or without functions. Again, if you want to learn more about regular expression and regular expression replace, I have at least 4 videos covering that. Just go to the channel and watch those. But for this one, this will be it. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.